Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Fireside Chat. Last week I had a Q&A basically because I didn't know what to speak about. Nothing was really inspiring me to talk, and this week's the opposite. I've got quite a bit I want to speak about today. And first and foremost, I want to speak about the whole Gal Gadot controversy. Now, for those of you who have been living in the cave, and maybe that's not, that's quite understandable given COVID. Many of us feel like we've been living in caves. Although you should have internet at this point. You might not be aware of the fact that Gal Gadot, fantastic Israeli actress Gal Gadot, has been criticized after the announcement that she was cast as Cleopatra. Now, those who have been criticizing Israeli Gal Gadot for being cast as the Egyptian Cleopatra, many people have pointed out, well, wait a minute, Cleopatra was Greek Macedonian. Gotcha. It's like a gotcha argument, and many people have used this to somehow justify Gal Gadot being cast. Hey Aria, good morning mate. Being cast as Cleopatra. But the people that are doing that are maybe scoring a few minor points, but they're kind of missing the whole essence of what's going on here. Because the people who are criticizing Gal Gadot and opposing Gal Gadot being cast as Cleopatra, it's not based on ignorance of history. Their viewpoint is not based on ignorance of history. You can say to them, hey, Cleopatra wasn't Egyptian, she was Greek Macedonian, and it doesn't make a difference. None of them have retracted their comments. See, what you guys are missing is the fact that the argument and the criticism is based on a hatred of Israelis, actually more accurately, a hatred of the Jewish people. And allow me to elaborate on that. Those that I've seen, at least, more high-profile people, who have been criticizing Gal Gadot as Cleopatra, always are bringing up that Gal Gadot is somehow white and not indigenous to the Middle East. And this is based on an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory and contention, which we see time and again, that us Jews are not indigenous to the Middle East. Again, it's historically inaccurate, of course, but it's based on a very specific theory called the Khazarian theory, an anti-Semitic theory, that there was a tribe in Europe that converted to Judaism, which is basic, that is true, that part, but that all of us, me, all other Jews watching now, all of us are basically fake Jews that have passed themselves off as real Jews. We descend from that tribe. And this is an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory which is shared by anti-Semites on the right, far right, black anti-Semites like Farrakhan. You see Farrakhan and his acolytes always talking about us being the fake Jews, the synagogue of Satan. Many talking about the blacks, the African Americans being the real Jews. You see Islamic anti-Semites saying it. You see, as I said, well, I mentioned far leftist ones as well. So all the anti-Semites you can think of are united in this theory, and you could see them on social media posting the very same memes, anti-Semitic memes, saying the same thing. I could do a quiz on this and show a meme and ask you guys, okay, did this come from an Islamic anti-Semite, a black anti-Semite, a far left or far right? And you know what? You wouldn't get the answers right, all of the answers right. So they're united in this, and this is what it's all about. These haters cannot stand the fact that a Jew, not just an Israeli, but any Jew would play Cleopatra. Now, yeah, if you look at the tweets in question, most of them always mention the fact that she's Israeli and or Zionist, but these are typical anti-Zionist, not anti-Semites. So those of you who think that this is somehow based on ignorance are wrong. In most, if not all cases, this is a hatred of Jewish people manifesting itself. Now, the whole argument is entirely ridiculous anyway, because think about it. We're talking about an actress being cast for a part. Now, actors act a particular part. They don't have to actually in real life represent the person or the character that they're depicting. In fact, the better the actor, the more the discrepancy between the character that they're depicting and their real life nature and character. Now you can see so many examples. I mean, there are examples of non-Jews all the time playing Jewish people. Rob Morrow in Northern Exposure, Jason Biggs in American Pie, Tony Shalhoub in, well, he's in the Marvelous Miss Maisel. He plays a Jewish father. You've got the amazing Ben Kingsley. He's played every Jew on the planet. He's always playing Jews. Even Al Pacino recently played a Nazi hunter. Now, when I see this, and I assume my fellow Jews are the same, I'm amazed by I appreciate the actors. I'm never thinking, I'm never struck down with righteous indignation that, oh my God, this is terrible that Jew wasn't cast. I'm flattered that a non-Jewish actor would play a Jew so well. It's the talent. That's what acting is. So it's ridiculous. Besides being anti-Semitic, okay, I have to start with the lead. It's really anti-Semitic, this argument, but it's also completely ridiculous. And the same wokesters who are complaining about Gal Gadot were silent when any of these other people are playing Jews, right? These non-Jews are playing Jews. It only goes one way. Racism to them is everything but basically discrimination against Jewish people. We are excluded from this wokesterism, as I call it. I'll talk a bit more about it in a second. So it's an absolutely ridiculous thing, and the fact that Cleopatra was Macedonian Greek is entirely irrelevant, to be honest, because you're missing the point as to why these people are making the argument to begin with. They're not motivated by historical truth. They're motivated by historical lies. Zalmi says, I'm looking at the comments now, like Daniel Craig. Sorry, I missed, Daniel Craig played a Jew in a movie, right. Daniel Craig's fantastic. He's fantastic. And yeah, so again, you can't really argue logic with these people. It's motivated by hatred of the Jewish people. Now we see another thing that I blogged today, which is Ice Cube. Now Ice Cube is getting a lot of flack by the wokesters at the moment. Now if you recall, Ice Cube, the rapper and actor Ice Cube, I forget his real name, he tweeted a litany of anti-Semitic tweets back in June. And the wokesters and Hollywood types didn't say much about it. It was a very Farrakhan-like type of anti-Semitism. He's a supporter of Farrakhan. All sorts of anti-Semitic tropes. And these wokesters didn't say anything. And if they did say anything, it was actually defending him. Now, he ended up apologizing. Okay, you can question the sincerity of his apology or not. But these wokesters had nothing to say, or they defended him. None of them. Well, actually, that's not true. Some actually did criticize, but a very, very small amount of people. By the way, one of the people that did criticize his anti-Semitism was Mark Lamont Hill, who's himself an anti-Semite. He's an anti-Zionist, not anti-Semite. He's been accused of anti-Semitism. I've accused him of it because a number of reasons, but he denies the existence of Israel from the river to the sea. He applauds terrorists. I think he's an anti-Semite, but I believe that he criticized Ice Cube for Ice Cube's anti-Semitism as sort of a virtue signaling type alibi to show himself not to be an anti-Semite, to buttress any arguments that he's an anti-Semite himself. Be that as it may, these wokesters are now, months later, cancelling Ice Cube. He's literally been cancelled. He was supposed to be on CNN. That's been cancelled. He's complaining. But they haven't cancelled him anything to do with anti-Semitism. They've cancelled him because he's worked with Donald Trump on a program for the black community. And that's a huge, unforgivable crime. Now, I'm not going to get into Trump today, okay? But the point is these wokesters couldn't give a crap about the fact that Ice Cube was anti-Semitic until now. Actually, many of them are mentioning the fact that there's anti-Semitism for the first time now. Why are they mentioning it? Because they're using the argument that, oh wait, he's anti-Semitic. He had these anti-Semitic tweets a few months ago. It makes sense that he supports Trump and would work with Trump, which is an entirely ridiculous argument and missing the point once again, and disingenuous, to be honest. I'm just now looking at some comments again. Samuel says, if the actress was a Falasha Jew, would they still complain? Maybe of the recent Miss Israel Titi Anor. Would be an interesting experiment to run. I already know the answer. I don't need to run the experiment. They wouldn't say anything, probably, right? They'd be more silent if she was a black Jew. Or you know what? They'd say she's a Zionist, but they wouldn't use the Jewish argument. They'd, be a bit maybe more careful with that. Okay, and all of this relates to an article which I think is the must-read article I've read in a very long time, by Barry Weiss, who recently left the New York Times, now works for Tablet. Stop Being Shocked is the name of the article, and she speaks about this new ideology that has replaced American liberalism, which she contends doesn't have a name, and she gives a number of different labels for it. I've been calling it wokesterism, but of all the different options that she provides in the article, I think my favorite one is therapeutic totalitarianism. Did I say that right? Because basically they're totalitarian, but it's therapy for them. These people believe that, or they want to feel good about themselves, that they're humanitarians, but they're anything but. And that's why I like that particular article. And just what Aria wrote, let me just see, I have to scroll. Of course, in the Ethiopian Jew or other wouldn't be accurate either. Ancient Egyptians weren't black either. What cracks me up is that Hamilton and other founding fathers of the United States can be portrayed by black men, and Little Orphan Annie by a small African-American child. But Cleopatra has to be portrayed by an Arab when she wasn't even Arab, just pathetic. Exactly, it goes one way. This wokesterism goes one way, Aria. And this is what I mean. This wokesterism is also, they claim to be anti-racist, but when it comes to Jews, anything goes. In fact, being Jewish or being a Zionist, as they put it, is racist in their books. Anyway, I implore all of you to read Barry Weiss's article. It's amazing. It's right on point. She's a liberal herself. Liberal, I say, in the true sense of the word, and not this fake liberal type. And it's right on point. And it's a real worry, and so many Jews are on board with this ideology, probably out of a sense of wanting to belong and to be liked, which has never worked if you look at history, right? The proud Jew is the way to go. And it's obviously easier to be a proud Jew living in Israel, right? I believe all Jews should live in Israel, but I do understand that not everyone can at the moment. But if you're not going to live in Israel as a Jew, then at least be proud in your indigenous heritage. And don't give in to these wokesters. Yeah, I think I prefer wokesterism just because I can't pronounce the other term or phrase. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Always interested in your viewpoint. I see Aria wrote another comment. Right, Barry Weiss article is great, and it's depressing. Right, it's a home truth, Aria. Or articles that make us think, they're always good, but yeah, they're not there to make us feel warm, give us the warm and fuzzies necessarily. And unfortunately, there's not much to be warm and fuzzy about. And on that topic, I now want to end with this. So the great Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs announced, or at least his social media accounts announced yesterday, that he has cancer and he's in treatment at the moment. And whereas anytime I hear of anyone having cancer, it saddens me greatly. I have to say that this has hit me particularly hard. As many of you know, I lost my wife, my beloved wife, Ahavar, to cancer just over a year ago after a 7-year battle with ovarian cancer. So it's something very close to my heart. But Rabbi Sachs has been such a huge inspiration to me, and he's been a comfort to me actually during these hard times. I always went to his articles and YouTube videos for spiritual nourishment, but also solace. He's just so articulate, and I just can't emphasize enough what he means to me and his teachings mean to me. And there's just so much about him that I love. He's a very outward thinking rabbi. He's a rabbi that has such a command of Jewish learning. At the same time, he's not insular in his thinking. He cares about the world as a whole. And he's the sort of Jew that I strive to be. Learned, and not just insular, but really caring about the world at large. Tikkun olam in its true sense, and not in the wokester sense, because the wokesters have co-opted the term Tikkun olam, repairing the world. And so it's really hit me hard, and I want everyone to please pray, whether Jew or non-Jew. Well, first of all, be familiar with Rabbi Sachs's teachings. Go to YouTube, go to his Facebook page, read, watch Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, and be inspired. And please daven and pray for Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs. His name, if I remember correctly, is Rav Yaakov. I forgot. Rabbi Yaakov something ben Lieber. Please check it out. I post it on the Israeli Cool page. And yeah, as I said, it's hitting me really hard, and I want everyone around the world to please pray for him. He's an inspiration not just to me, but to tens of thousands of people around the world, Jew and non-Jew alike, as I mentioned. Okay, I'm signing off for this week. Shabbat Shalom. Have a great weekend, everyone, and may we all have good times ahead.